still want the act, not the ghost.
Well, hello and welcome back to the DCUK podcast. This is season 5 and it's episode 9. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. If you're joining me live, well, thank you very much. It's always nice to see some friendly faces. If you're listening to us, then thank you for listening in. It's always good to see you guys listening into the show. Today is all about the win streak. The fact that we're currently on a 4-game win streak. It's unreal. It feels very weird, but we're going to take it. But also, we're going to be looking at that Charlotte game. We're going to be looking ahead to this weekend against Cincinnati. Some bits and pieces in the news that have come out recently. Some good bits, some not so good bits, and then if you've got any questions throughout the show, please do send them in. But as always, we're going to start off with a little bit of trivia time because we like to get your thinking caps on. So today's question, and we always theme it against who we're playing this weekend in our upcoming match. It's in the previous 2 matches against FC Cincinnati at the TQL Stadium, which player has been sent off? So, in the previous 2 matches against FC Cincinnati at their grounds at TQL Stadium, which player has been sent off? So, this person has been sent off in both the previous 2 games there. It's very, very strange how it was the same player. It is what it is. But I will also say is that player does no longer play for us anymore. So, there is that. So get your thinking caps on. If you know who it is, please let me know. Be good to hear what you think. Just don't go to the end of the show to find out the answer. So moving on, we're going to look ahead at some news. So it's time to play the news thing. Cool. So, some bits that have come up in the news. First things first, we obviously beat Richmond Kickers in the US Open Cup. So, we went into the hat for the next round. They seem to regionalize it at the moment. So, we were put into a pot with a couple of other teams. And we are pitted against the New York Red Bulls in the next round. So, we'll be heading up to New Jersey next week for the midweek match. And hopefully we'll be coming back with yet another win. Because, we seem to like winning at the moment. So cool to say that. Oh, it's been too long. It's been far too long. Some say 2020 was the last time we were like this. I hope we can keep it going. I hope we can really keep it going because it's amazing. So New York Red Bulls in the next round of the US Open Cup at the Red Bull Arena. So we opted out of playing at home, and that was due to a clash with some other games as well. I think that was down to XFL and the Washington Spirit as well. Nice to see you, Gooner Boy. Just got off work. Well, what timing is that? How good timing is that? Finish work, tune into the podcast. It's a way to do it, isn't it? It is the way to do it. So moving on to the next bit of news. So recently we've confirmed a couple of new signings. Obviously that was the transfer window was a little while ago, but I've not done a show since then. So we confirmed the signings of Eric Hurtado and Christian Dahome. Dahome is the winger. So backup for obviously Rodriguez being out injured. So I'm intrigued to see how he does. He seems to have got a bit of flair about him and could be a really good signing actually. So there's that, and then there's Eric Hurtado, which is the strange one. I'm not sure what the thought process was behind that. I know we needed someone else, but he's not really a like for like backup for Benteke or Taxi. So yeah, we're a bit perplexed on that one. But the powers that be, it was a cheap signing, shall we say, and we needed to get someone in just to have that cover there. So I don't think we'll see anything from him. But we'll see. Attacking reforms. I hope it doesn't ruin all of Coup de Pietro's minutes. I don't think it will, because we saw him come on. I'm sure he came on against against Charlotte. I don't think we'll see him have fewer minutes. Yeah, so he came on in the 17th minute for Taxi. Yeah, I don't think. I think it's more in terms of the Hurtado signing. He's backup of the backups. He is the emergency backup. Whilst Dahome, yes, I can see that happening, but I think the more likely will be for Jackson Hopkins. I think he will probably have fewer minutes or fewer opportunities with the fact that Dahome's he's got more experience. Having played for Vancouver. Yeah, I think that's probably where we'll see that happen. But time will tell. Time will tell. In terms of maybe some not so good news, Hannah Jose, whilst he's been injured, was back in Sweden and then was arrested for assault, and he's been charged with assault. But he's now, according to Goffer, who tweeted out as of today, he's no longer under detention. So we'll see what happens with that. So he's still injured, still suspended by MLS. So we'll see what happens with him. Didn't like the fact that we've got extra controversy around the club. Yeah, and disappointed because he's been looking like a great little player for us. Look good going forwards, decent cross on him, got a couple of assists early on in the season. Yeah, a little bit disappointed by that, but yeah, frustrating, I think, is the word I'm going to use for that one. Other things I wanted to talk about was Benteke. I'm going to talk about the goal in a moment because that's coming up in the review section of the show. But he's currently joint fourth in the leading scorers at the moment with 5 goals so far this season, which is great. I'm very happy about that. So he's currently behind Espinoza, who's on 6 goals, Bawanga, who's on 7 goals, and John Morris, who's on 8 goals. So he's leading the way. John Morris has had an absolute insane start to the season. So yeah, fantastic to see him playing well, because after his injury that he had when he went over to Swansea, that was a really bad time for him. But yeah, Benteke is tied along with quite a few other players who are on 5 goals actually. So Thiago Almeida, Bassi, João Klaus, St. Louis City, Ebabise, Jesus Ferreira, João Calma. I'm really going to struggle with this surname. Giacomo, the Greek guy for Atlanta. And Mikael Ure, Philly. So quite a few players on 5 goals. But Benteke has played the most amount of minutes. He's played all the minutes so far this season, ever present. You can't argue with that for someone who's 32 years old, I think. Been an ever present, 10 games, 900 minutes played. It's good going. It's a goal every other game, which I think we'd be happy with if he continued that rate as well. So what would that be? 17 goals in the regular season? I don't think anybody would argue too much with that. Great to see Taxi off the mark as well recently. So we're starting to get the goals flowing again. But also, Benteke is leading the way with most fouls committed, and it's quite a long way ahead as well. Let me just find that back up again. 35 fouls committed so far this season. Next up behind him is Carranza on 26 and Copetti, who's on 23 along with Reyes. Funny enough, all forwards. It doesn't surprise me that with forwards committing the most amount of fouls, But, he's getting himself about. The fact that he's up there with the amount of minutes as well. He's played 10 games. Yeah, and it's the kind of player he is as well. He's a big guy. He's going to be backing into the defenders. They're going to fall over. He's going to fall over. There's going to be fouls happening all the time. So, yeah, no surprise there. But also, he's been caught offside the most of this season so far with 15 offsides, um, which I wasn't expecting, to be fair. So that you can see that he's trying to break the back line, trying to get a yard of pace. Because again, he's not the quickest, so it's probably one of the things that will happen quite often. But and it's a long ball from Tyler Miller as well. So there you go. Interested to hear what you guys out there think about how Benteke is doing overall. I think he's coming on well so far this season. It's great to see that again. Like he's scoring, he's gaining confidence. I think we're going to see the best out of him. And there was an article that I saw. I can't remember where it's from. I can't remember if it was the Washington Post or whether it was on BBC Sport. But something about Benteke and what he was saying about himself as a person, about moving to MLS. And the thing that I saw was about the fact that this is the first time he's in a long time he's done something for himself, and he's actually really, really happy where he is right now. Well, I like that, and I think that's really good to hear. The fact that he's come to MLS for his own personal choice, and he's happy where he is. That screams a lot about one, the league as a whole, the fact that he's happy to come to MLS, and two, the fact what it says about the club as well, and the teammates in the locker room, the fact that he's happy here as well. And the other thing was, I don't know whether you guys might have noticed, but Lewis O'Brien as well, saying how surprised he is about the quality of the players and the technical ability of players in MLS, and how he thinks that not many people in England know about it. Hi, Lewis. I'm here. There's a load of us in the MLS UK community. We're here. Probably just not shouting loud enough. So we'll try harder. Gunnar, what are you saying? Benteke can be a bit frustrated at times, but as long as he's gone for these 50-50s and his positions to score, can't complain. Very nice to have him in contrast to taxing Cooney. Yeah. And that's it. That's what I think is going to be so good for us, is the fact that we've got Benteke, who's great at holding up the ball, winning the ball in the air. And then you got Taxi, who's the little whippet, the annoying little terrier who's running around, trying to jump at people's feet, get the ankles, and chase everything down. So the fact that there's two contrasting styles, but they're two contrasting styles that work well together. So I'm very happy about that. But that's it for the news bit. I want to talk about that Charlotte game because it was good, and I'm happy where we're going. So it's gonna end the news section with the theme. Cool. So the last game against Charlotte, what a result! Really happy about this one. It was a slow start to this game. We didn't really do all that well in the first 15 minutes. We were being out dominated in possession. I think there was at one point we were only had like 28% possession or something ridiculous like that. But they couldn't break us down. They did have a few early opportunities, and they genuinely did look like they were going to get the first goal of the game. But we stifled their attack. We were able to block a lot of attacks. And then once things had settled down and the ref had given about 1 million free kicks away, we started to get into a bit of a rhythm. And things started to build up, and we were making waves. We got a few good attacks in. We were using the wings, I know, it's really well in this game, with Nahar, and it was on the left hand side. Oh dear, my brain is giving me a blank. I'm gonna have to go back to there. Click the lineups. Oh, why is my mind gone blank? Oh, flipping heck. Ah, Santos. Santos. On the left hand side, Taxi was making some good runs down there as well. It was great to see. Very happy with the way we played after the first sort of 20 minutes or so. And then we kind of we built up. We were gaining the confidence. We started having more possession. We are outpossessing our opponents. And then we got the penalty, which, if we look at the big picture, well, let's put it this way: if we look at it at if none of the other decisions had happened, like again the ones against Crew and other decisions, to me, this would have been a really soft penalty. Yes, he did clip Taxi, but I feel like Taxi did go down quite easily. But for the reasons why we've had so many things go against us, it was only right that we had this go for us. So the Taxi goes down, we get the penalty, up steps Taxi, puts it into the bottom corner. You could see there was something one of the Charlotte players was saying you need to go the side that Taxi went. Then you saw Click going, no, it's the other way, trying to put off the keeper. But we got the goal. You could see the passion in Taxi's face. Oh, great. And then from that moment, Charlotte's attack had died. Um, they just couldn't. They just seemed to. All their confidence was gone. It seemed to drain out of them, and that was bizarre. And then they kind of resorted to being incredibly physical. So the likes of Benteke were being nipped at. Their Birnbaum was being knocked all over the place, and yeah, it got very, very physical. And Capetti was one of those players that was at the heart of that as well. And you saw Victor Paulsen getting really angry with him, and giving it back. And that's what I'd like to see. Um, he's like it's like having Felipe, but an Icelandic version of Felipe, and I'm happy about that. I can have that all day. And Paulson, to be fair to him, is one of those players who's come on again leaps and bounds over the last few games as well. Since moving to this 3-5-2 formation and playing that as a centre back, he seems to have done really well. He seems to be dictating a bit of play with his passing, and he seems very comfortable there as well. Shadowfax, yo, 4 in a row. That match was the most fun I've had in like 5 years. Oh wow. Okay. That's a bold claim. But I'm happy that you are able to come with that claim. Having the most fun. What was fun about it? About that game for you? What stood out most for you? Really seemed like the team is playing for one another now. You're very right with that statement. And I will come on to that in a very short moment. Most fun was the Orlando 5-3 last year. Yeah. To be fair, any game against Orlando was pretty fun, to be honest. Um, I just want to quickly run through some stats about the game at the weekend. So 41.2% possession for DC compared to 58.8% for Charlotte. So yes, we were down like 72-28 at one point, but we obviously brought that back. We had 13 shots on goal to their 7. We had 4 on target to their 1. The expected goals from all the chances that we created were 2.1 to 0.5. And then in terms of things like the average position of the players and our passing routines, and this is one of the things I wanted to come onto what you were saying, Shadowfax, about the fact that they're playing for one another. In this particular game, the passing was truly all around between everyone. It was, when you look into the passing lanes, it was fun, brilliant. And Knaus is actually at the heart of it all. He was the way he was passing around, the people who's passing to everyone. And when you get in that kind of rhythm, and the confidence that brings that you're able to go, yeah, I'm going to pass it to Pines, I'm going to pass it to Birnbaum, I'm going to pass it forward to Benteke, I'm going to pass it to Taxi, I'm going to pass it to Santos, I'm going to pass it to Nahar, I'm going to pass it to Click. It's great. That's the kind of thing you want. That's what I like to see. My brother and I usually watch each other while we watch. Usually call each other, not usually watch each other. That would be weird. Usually call each other while we watch, and he's generally unhappy, super critical, etc. This time he's actually happy. Good. That's good to hear. I'm happy about that. So yeah, so this was just brilliant. But we need to talk about the Benteke goal, the bicycle goal of the season so far. Has to be. Yes, he got goal of the week, which is great, but that's got to be a contender for goal of the season. And I think there's more to it than just the fact that it was a bicycle kick. So yeah, we got the free kick, the ball comes in. And normally you see the spectacular bicycle kicks, the ones that come over. The ball's going towards the goal, overhead kick, and it goes in. But if you look back at this one, and what makes this bicycle kick much better than other bicycle kicks is the fact that the ball is actually moving away from goal. So to get any power behind it is a lot more difficult because he's having to battle against the way the ball's going. So the fact that I was able to a see the ball just get headed up into the air, two, make that decision to go, yeah, I'm going to go for an overhead kick, but three, to actually then make that connection as well and get it into the bottom corner. It was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant goal. So yeah, it's not just the fact that it was a bicycle kick, but it was the fact that there was more to it, and the way he was able to actually do that bicycle kick was great. But Pines, I don't know whether you guys noticed, but Pines attempted the bicycle kick not long before that one. I think it was off a corner, and he just completely missed it. Bless him. It just didn't look pretty, but at least he gave it a go. And Pines, fair play to him. He's having some great games at the moment. He's been absolutely spot on. Confidence is flowing. He seems really comfortable on the ball at the moment. Able to cover, get the tackles in, and it's not like how he has been or what he was like last year, where he seemed to. I think he was out for a little while, and he just couldn't get back into the rhythm of it, and he kind of just came onto the pitch and just kind of didn't seem like he was all there really. But this season so far, he's come in. Obviously, Williams has been out injured. Hindsight has been out injured for a while. So he's come in and he's really, really took his chance. And it's gonna be tricky to move him out of the starting lineup now. And to be fair to all three of them, Birnbaum and Paulson, because we've kept a couple of clean sheets in this run with them three at the back. We've looked pretty solid there. We've been blocking shots at goal. Everyone seems to be playing for each other. It's been great. So I'm very, very happy about that, which is weird because I'm always about the 4-4-2. Yeah, we're continuing with 3-5-2. We're winning games. I can't say no to it. And if it ain't broke, why fix it? So, yeah, very happy. So the Benteke goal was great. Then we had Jacob Greene. And again, this is another part of the playing for one another is I love the fact that it's like the 94th minute and we're still attacking. That was awesome. Lewis O'Brien, great run by him down the left-hand side. Sees the fact that we've got Benteke in the box. And I know the passes for Benteke, but obviously he doesn't get to it. And I think it was Benteke. I might be wrong, but I'm sure it was Benteke there. And then it comes back out, and you just see Jacob Greene there, and you're thinking, oh, here we go. My first thought was, this is going over the bar. That was genuinely my first thought. I was like, yep, that's going over the bar. He's looking at the target. But what a finish in at the near post. Keeper probably should have done a lot better with that. But yeah, great finish. Not sure about the celebration. I think if he's going to start scoring goals, he's going to need to work on his celebration. But the fact that everyone joined in, everyone was together, massive huddle, everyone off the bench, players, coaches, physios, everyone was just so happy for the lad, and it was brilliant. I was in here just screaming, jumping, very happy for the guy. Great to see, and again, it's going to be one of those things where I want to see him keep continuing taking those opportunities that come his way, because you know there will be times where he will need to be called upon. Greene running up and hugging Taxi was an awesome moment. A lot of camaraderie, yeah. And after what's happened over the last couple of years, um, and what feels like there has been some internal heat and tensions, to see how everything is coming together now is great. And I think that shows, one, the man management of Rooney and how great he is at able to bring in a group of players together. Because you look at what he did at Derby County with what he was given, that he had a group of players who were not getting paid, who were a bunch of youngsters. They had very limited pro experience, but he was able to get that team to almost come out of relegation with a huge point deduction. I think the man management side of Rooney is key here for it, and I'm really happy to see that things I've seen to almost turn a full corner. But these next few games are going to be the big test, and I'm going to talk about that now. Because the first game in this sort of next mini run that we've got, which when we look at it is going to be a run of looking at the next 4 games. We've got Cincinnati up this weekend at Cincinnati at the TQL Stadium, on MLS Season Pass. So if you haven't got it, you're gonna unfortunately only get to watch the highlights of the game. But yeah, it's our next sort of run of games as well beyond Cincinnati is Nashville, in the league anyway. And then we've got Philadelphia and LA Galaxy in the next sort of 4 big league games. And then to round off May, we've also got Toronto at the end of the month in Canada. So this month we've only actually got 2 home games, compared to last month where we had 3 home games, 3 away games. One of those was the US Open Cup game. I'm just checking. I'm surprised the Red Bulls game isn't on the list here. So we're only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 away games this month, and only 2 at home. So this month's going to be a really tough month, but we'll see how we'll handle it. So yeah, Cincinnati's up next. TQL Saturday, May 6th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, midnight my time. So again, it'll be a nice little late night, but I'm okay with that. Head-to-head wise, there's been 8 fixtures between the 2 teams. We've won 4, Cincinnati won 1, and there's been 3 draws. So generally speaking, this is a fixture that we tend to do well in, more than not. But we'll also be up against some familiar faces in Lucho Acosta and Junior Moreno. Both of those guys obviously were around when Rooney was here playing for us. So there'll probably be a little bit of a catch-up between the 3 of them. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one because Cincinnati have played well recently at home as well. So their only win against us was actually the last time we played each other, and that was at Audi Field as well. So we were beaten 5-2 at home, which was a really sore defeat because I don't think we should have got beaten by that much. And it was Cincinnati, and Cincinnati, generally speaking, they're not known for winning a lot of games, but they've come on hugely over the last sort of 12, 18 months. So yeah, Cincinnati at home, they've won 5 matches in a row for the first time, and they've won 8 games in the last 11. Obviously, as we've spoken about, we've won 4 games in a row in all competitions, just as many as we did in the previous 33, which dates back to May 20. May of the it was longer than that, wasn't it? May 2021. Can't be that long, surely. I'll just double check on that. Yeah, we drawn 8, lost 21 in that 33 game run, which is just crazy. So yeah, we're obviously doing very, very well at the moment. Then we've recorded a longer win streak just once in the previous 15 years, and that was when we won 5 in a row back in 2018. And that was when Rooney joined us. So if we can get this win at the weekend, brilliant. That will be insane. But let's put it this way: I'm not holding my hopes up too much. And just going back onto Benteke, in the previous match against Charlotte, he won 15 aerial duels, which is only the 6th player to have done that since 2010. No players actually had more than 15 aerial duels won. So, yeah. So it's going to be a tough one. 2 teams who are in form at the moment for different reasons. We're in form in terms of the actual more recent run. Whilst you've got Cincinnati who are on a good run from the aspect of the home fixtures. I'm just going to check out Cincinnati's recent results as well. So Cincinnati's, they drew their last game against New England away from home. Then they beat Portland. However, they did get absolutely trounced by St. Louis 5-1, which is no surprise because St. Louis have had an insane start to the year. Then to round off the April month, they also beat Philadelphia and Miami, respectively, 1-0. So they are doing very, very well. That's 1 defeat in the month of April. So we've got our work cut out this weekend. Then, in terms of how they're doing overall in the standings, so they are currently in 2nd in the East. Well, I say 2nd, they're joint top with New England. The only reason why they are not top is through goal difference. So they're on a +2 goal difference, whilst New England are on +7. They've scored 13 goals overall and conceded 11. So we've actually had more goals in our games so far, and we're now in a positive goal difference. Again, it feels like it's been a while since we've been able to say that. Probably after a good run of games, and we've scored 14 times, conceded 13. The Cincinnati's home record is 5 wins out of 5 so far this year. So there needs to come a point when that needs to turn around, and there needs to be another number in those 3 columns. Apart from just the 5, there needs to be another 1 in there somewhere. Hopefully, we can be the team to inflict that. So let me just go back. Yeah, the current DPs are Brenner and Abina Nuobodo. But Brenner is currently on his way out of the club. He's moving to Udinese in Serie A. Congratulations to Napoli, who this evening won their first title for 33 years. So fair play to them for that. So you got Brenner. I don't think he's featured recently either. So it'll be interesting to see if he features this weekend. They've got a couple of players in their under 22 initiative, Marco Angulo and Alvaro Barriel. And then they've got 2 generation Adidas players and Joy Akponanu who's a defender, and Roman Salentano, who's a goalkeeper. So be it, except interesting this weekend as to what happens. It's going to be an incredibly tough game for us. I do think the win streak does come to an end this weekend, but I don't think it's through a defeat. I think it will be a draw. I'll be happy if I'm proved wrong and we win, but realistically speaking, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Because it's just my gut feeling on this one. I don't like not predicting wins, but for my head is saying 1-1. Like I said, I'll be happy. If we don't get beat, it'd be great. If we win, I'll be absolutely elated with that. They've yet to beat us on their turf as well, so let's just put that. So there is that side of things as well, so we can use that as psychological advantage. They'll really want to be beating us this weekend. Lucha obviously will want to beat us, and Junior will also want to beat us for their own reasons because they're former players. But I think the way this one's going to play out this weekend is, I think we're probably going to pack the centre midfield, because you're going to have the likes of Lucho Costa, who will be wanting to run the game. And if we can keep him quiet and picking the ball up from deep rather than playing the ball higher up the pitch, we'll stand a really good chance of getting a positive result. I think we've done that before. When we look at the this fixture, so at TQL last year, that's what happened. Lucha was getting frustrated because he had to go deeper and deeper and deeper to get the ball, so he wasn't able to make as much of an impact in the attacking third. So if we could do that again, that would be brilliant. But yeah, 1-1 for this weekend. I'd love to know what you guys think out there, what the score is going to be. And yeah, we'll see who's right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we win. But yeah, that's it. Honestly, I think it's going to be 1-1. Just moving on to a question that I did get sent over to me by Eric, who's a DCUK member, and that's the opportunity to actually say, do come and join us. We have a Twitter group where we chat, we discuss things, obviously club, other bits as well, like how get the docs in. So there's that. But we just chat all sorts of stuff, like how Leeds are probably going to go down this year, and why have they chosen Big Sam? Why did they sack Gracia, and what were they thinking? And all sorts of other things as well. How Arsenal are bottling it. So some good chatting there, especially on game days. It's always great. We always have fun on that. But yeah, Eric sent a question in saying, which players do you see benefiting most from Rooney as the manager? He thinks it's Pines and Benteke. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Pines, definitely. I think Benteke will get some benefit. I'll also say that it will be primarily the youngsters who will get the biggest benefit. The likes of Ted will be seeing a huge benefit as he's had actually a good amount of game time so far this year. I'd like to see Jackson Hopkins a bit more, but we'll see what happens. There's obviously reasons why he's not being picked as much. Sorry, good boy. I had to mention about Arsenal. It's true. They are bottling it. But yeah, so far the biggest visual benefit so far has got to have been Donny Pines. It's been fantastic to see how well he's been doing. So, yeah, for me, generally speaking, it will be the youngsters who obviously get the biggest benefit. Anyone in his doghouse? I don't think it really is. Because you look at the camaraderie between all the players, as we've mentioned throughout this episode. I've just seen a comment come in from Good Boy. I'm not happy about that. Don't bottle a playoff championship. I'm watching you. Um, it's yeah, as I was saying, the camaraderie between all the players has been fantastic so far this season. I genuinely don't think there'll be anyone in his doghouse. Um, or if we do see it, there's not. If there is anyone in there, I don't think there is. I genuinely don't think there's anyone in the doghouse, and if there is, we just don't see it, and that's fine. As long as everyone's together, they're showing how it's they're working hard. Everyone's there for each other. I mean, you look at the way I think it was on one of the first team reports where they were talking about how Pines made a tackle on one of the Orlando players, and everyone's running over to him to congratulate him for such a good tackle. It's little things like that that make a huge amount of difference, and I think that's where, again, I think going back to the which players do you see benefiting from Rooney as the manager, that's from a team perspective as well, and the fact that he's, as I mentioned before, he seems to be such a good man manager. That's really coming through. So I think that's going to be the big thing. Yeah, nobody in the doghouse. Um, it's really unfortunate that we struggled to develop him for the past couple of years. About Pines there, because physically he's such a beast. Yeah, I mean he's such a big guy, not as big as myself, but if you know me, I'm a little bit taller than Pines. Um, but yeah, it always amazes me actually how quick he can run as well, because he just seems to get around the pitch just insanely fast for such a big frame. Um, yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, that's about it. For a couple of guys there that went around for the trivia time question at the start of the show. Let's remind ourselves what that question was, which was in the previous two matches against FC Cincinnati at the TQL, which player has been sent off in both matches? Which player has been sent off in both matches at the TQL and the previous two fixtures? Now, as I mentioned before, this player is no longer playing for us. And on both occasions, it seemed that he got sent off and then kind of disappeared a little bit and didn't play much more for the rest of the season. So, any wild guesses out there, please do get them in. Let me know what you think, because I'm about to reveal the answers. If you want to pause to think, pause the show now. But in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The player who was sent off in the previous two fixtures at the TQL Stadium between FC Cincinnati and DC United is Moses Nyman. Moses Nyman was sent off in both fixtures. And when I was looking at this, I was thinking about what question to do. I thought this was a pretty good one. Yeah, Moses Nyman was sent off in both fixtures. Yeah, wow. Absolutely wow. It's crazy, isn't it? To think of that way. But yeah, he's now on loan at RSL, getting fit minutes in the Monarchs of their B team. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him do a bit more, but you know, it is what it is. And that's it for this week. So I appreciate Gunnar and Shadow joining in the chat there. To everyone who watches the show after the fact, thank you for watching. Do remember to give this episode a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. And if you are subscribed to this on podcast and it's through Apple or whatever means that you can leave a review, I'd appreciate a huge review. So we'll end the show there. I appreciate everyone watching. Please do come and join DC United Kingdom as well. If you want to support the show in any way, you'll see a link in the description. Beautiful, beautiful merch. We've just launched a DCUK. I said just the raccoon jersey, which is fantastic. A few people have bought one already, so please do. It all goes towards helping the show, funding everything that goes towards it. So that'd be great. So yeah, that's it for now. We'll see you next week. We might even have a guest. Until next time, Vamos United.
Swallowing off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.